Hello students, this is like the 10th time I'm trying to record this video. So we really appreciate it when you guys watch them, okay? I hope you're doing well. Today I'm going to go over question 16. So the first question is asking you to match the equation with the correct graph. And all the equations are given in slope-intercept form. So let's review what each part of the slope-intercept form represents. The easiest thing to get from the graph is the y-intercept, or B. This is where it crosses the y-axis. And then M is your slope. This is your rise over run. If you notice on the graphs, the red graph is crossing on the y-axis where the y's are positive, and the blue one's crossing where it's negative. So I can clearly see that equation 1 is the red because it's crossing at, it says +4, so this has to be 4. And the blue one has to be equation 2 since you have a negative y-intercept. But let's talk about the slope. This slope is negative, which tells me the line is going down, it's decreasing. And this one's positive, so it tells me it's going up, which is increasing. So let's finish the question by filling out our sentence frame. Equation 1 corresponds to R because it has a positive y-intercept and a negative slope. Equation B corresponds to, equation 2 corresponds to B because it has a negative y-intercept and a positive slope. Okay, I hope that helps you for question 1. And I have a feeling a lot of you understand question 1, but if you forgot, that's why we're making these videos for, okay? Let's go to question 2. On question 2, they give you 2 graphs that are quadratic or U-shaped called parabolas. And they want us to write an equation either in standard form, vertex form, or factored form. We are going to ignore standard form for right now. It's the form that says y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. We're going to talk a little bit more about that tomorrow. So the first one is vertex form. It is y equals a times the quantity x minus h squared plus k. So for this, we have to find a, h, and k. So looking at the graph, the easiest thing to find is the vertex, which is right here. It's either the very bottom or the very top. And I noticed that that point, if I go over to 3, and then I have to go down 4. So it's 3, negative 4. The 3 is your h, and the negative 4 is your k. So we're almost done. We need to find a. And I'm just going to remind you, before we left, your teachers talked about this pattern that we started with the vertex. Then we go over 1, up 1. Then we go back to the vertex. We go over 2, up 4. So if our parabola has that pattern of 1, 1, 2, 4, then that means A is 1. So let's check this parabola. I go over 1, then up 1, over 1, up 1. It works so far. Then I go over 2, up 1, 2, 3, 4. Over 2, up 1, 2, 3, 4 to get to the next one. It works. So that tells me A is 1. So let's write our equation. It's y equals A is 1, so we put 1, parentheses x minus your h, which was 3, then square it. And let me just stop here for a second. Whenever h is positive, you're going to have minus h. If h is negative, then it's the opposite, x plus h. Okay, let's finish it off. We need the k, so it's k is -4, so we put -4. And that is the equation in vertex form. Let's talk a little bit about factored form. A lot of you have not seen factored form, but we talked about factored form a lot when we did factoring, either by grouping or by the box method or guess and check. So looking here, it says y equals the GCF times x minus p parentheses x minus q parentheses. You're always going to need 2 sets of parentheses. So I'm going to start with that. Don't forget your y equals 2, okay? That's really important. So we look on the graph where the graph crosses the x-axis. So it crosses right here at 1 and right here at 5. I'm almost done. So I'm going to put x and then x. And we write, this is just like h where we write the opposite. So we have +1, I need -1. And then we have +5, so I'm going to write -5. And to find the GCF, in this case, the GCF is your A, which is 1, because 1 really doesn't affect the equation a lot. This is just a side note. The GCF is not always equal to A. Okay, I'm going to write that here. Doesn't always equal A. In this problem, it did. But I'm stressing that out. It's not always A. Okay, so once you have your equations, I'm going to go to Desmos. There it is. And I'm going to type them in to make sure they're equal to each other, they're equivalent. So let's type our first one. A was 1, and it was x minus 3. To find the squared, look at the keyboard here where it says a squared, and that's how you put a squared. Then we want -4. And then down here, I'm going to put my factored form, 1, and it was x minus 1, x minus 5. And look, it's the same parabola. Okay, and that's what I want. I hope this video helps, and see you tomorrow, okay?